on the breakfast hour. You have asked the question and we have responded. How do I invest my money even in these difficult times? And today is no different. It's another Financial Tuesday where we certainly focus on financial health. Welcome, Mikey G.
Good morning, Lady Elise. I'm telling you that it is an important thing to have financial knowledge. In today's world where things are slipping away so quickly and investments are made in quiet places and we are sometimes left oblivious to what's really going on. Land grabs are happening. People are purchasing properties in high demand and changing the market value of properties and things in such rapid pace that if you're not careful, you become extinct in financial abilities. And so this morning we're talking a little bit more about how to be healthier and in your financial and have financial support. This morning we want to teach you and of course acquire information more about how to be financially healthy every Tuesday right here on Flashpoint Radio FM and of course Flashpoint Media. Alright, so when we come back, we'll definitely be talking a little bit more about how to take care of our finances.
And then in this week's episode, we are touching on a topic, entrepreneurship. What are your views and what are your perspectives on this very interesting way of making an investment?
Entrepreneurship, as I would always think about it, is a mindset that gives you creating and not depending. And so it has two different mindsets. One is a creating of something, and if you didn't do that, then the other side of that would be you're dependent on somebody creating something for you to survive. So yes, entrepreneurship is where I would lay my foundation for life skills for just about every single person. Unfortunately, as I discussed earlier in some of our episodes, that the education system, while I am not against education has disenfranchised so many by how it has been designed, and so people are not benefiting from education the way they should, and they are being skewed in a certain way to think and believe that would not give them the greatest outcome. Here's the question about education. And it is one of the biggest questions that has been asked for many persons and many times over.
Yes.
And many people say education is the key to success. Yet still teachers are the poorest of all. The population are ranked in the poorest of the professional of our society.
Wow.
Why is that?
That's a serious indictment, Michael G, a very serious one. But one of the interesting things, I must share this picture, Michael G. I hope I get a chance to share that as we talk about education and what education has taught us, and also the fact that we are conditioned to think a certain way. But just to educate you, Mikey G, I saw a record. I had to drive. I know this is wasting gas. I had to turn around. I had to take a look again. Gas prices, the highest I've seen them yet, $6.94.
$7.
Just 6 cents short. Not all the gas stations, but so I would suggest that we definitely look at where we're purchasing the gas. If it's going to be a whole dollar per liter per gallon more, then it's certainly a decision to make. As we're talking about finances on this Tuesday, just keeping it real, are you taking note of the prices when you're purchasing fuel? Maybe it's worth a second look.
And you might have to consider who you're going to give a ride in the car that you have paid for more gas prices, and of course have to pay a higher you might have to ask who are you and your nationality and who you are before you give a ride to somebody, because you have to pay more
Really?
for your driver's license and all that. You might have to think about these things, don't you? I don't know. I just think about it.
Ay, 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 ay. Keeping it real right here on the
Yeah, you
Breakfast
might have to
Club.
start thinking, how am I going to not help? Or help some people, but you have to be sure who you must help. The ones who need it.
Yes, yes.
Yes. All right, I think we can get into our financial matters this morning. $7 for gas, 690 since 690 what?
94,
694.
694.
That's a whopping
Yeah.
high. I mean, well, we are hearing a mix of conversation going on that ethanol is going to be mixed in gasoline in a higher rate, which was banned to do before. So what you're looking at is that what people say that is illegal is now becoming legalized. We're going to see more legalized illegal things coming up shortly, like scamming, illegal scamming is coming, legal scamming, and all of that. So anyways, it's let the games begin. It's an exciting time to be alive, and let's see the doors open for many things that nobody could do, but now everybody can do, because it is a time of crisis, and so you have been held in the back. You can't do it, but now you can, because guess what? It is the time that you can do it. So I'm just leaving that right there. Time for
All right.
financial matters this
Yes,
morning.
I hope everybody had
Entrepreneurship.
a wonderful Easter. But let's hear from our financial advisor.
When we come
This
back.
is part 5 in our series. How do we build wealth through entrepreneurship? Listen up.
Let's get this one. And when we come back for this one, all right, let's get it, Lady Elise. All right, here we go.
Episode 5 in our series on investing. As I alluded to, one of the most common questions that are asked of me and any investor or anybody within the financial circles is, where should I invest my money? So far, we have looked at the basics of investing, some safe investment tools. We have looked at the stock market, and in our most recent episode, we looked at real estate investing. Today, we are going to explore entrepreneurship and business ownership. This has been one of the greatest ways of creating wealth, and it has also been one of the most risky ways. Let us explore it some more. If we look at many of the world's most wealthy individuals, a large portion of them built their fortunes through owning businesses. But unlike stocks or real estate, business ownership comes with a unique challenge. You are not just the investor, you are also the operator. This means that your financial success depends not only on market performance, but also upon strategy, execution, and leadership. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship means creating or owning a business that produces value and generates profit. When you start a business, or you even buy one, you invest your time, your money, your effort, and your expertise. The goal is to build something that produces income eventually, that is far more valuable than the original investment. Now, businesses generate wealth in two main ways. One, cash flow during the lifespan of the business, and a large payout when the business is sold. Both can be extremely powerful. Now, unlike many investments that grow slowly over time, businesses have the potential to grow exponentially. For example, if you start a business with $50,000, it can eventually become $5 million, and the return on investment is enormous. Business can scale because of several things. One, revenue can grow rapidly. Products can reach large markets, and technology can multiply productivity. This is why entrepreneurship has historically been one of the fastest ways to build wealth. But there's a reason why entrepreneurship is not for everyone. One of the main reasons why I say that is that startups normally fail. There is a 80% chance of your startup failing within the first year. In other words, only 20% of startups actually make it past the first year. And some studies suggest that of that, 50% of all startups, in other words, only 10% survive in excess of 5 years. Well, let's look at some of the common reasons behind that. The first one is the market that you're in. Many businesses fail because they create products that no one actually needs. Entrepreneurs sometimes fall in love with the idea rather than solving the real problem. The best businesses solve clear and painful problems for customers. The second reason is poor cash flow management. Even the most profitable businesses can fail if they run out of cash. Common mistakes include underestimating expenses, growing too quickly, or poor financial planning. Cash flow is the oxygen of the business. If you do not have sufficient cash flow or have negative cash flow, you can suffocate that business. The third reason why a business fails is through weak management or leadership. Running a business requires skills in multiple areas. These include marketing, operations, finance, and leadership. A great idea alone is not enough. Execution matters just as much as innovation. A fourth way why businesses fail is through lack of differentiation. If a business offers the same thing as everyone else, competition can become overwhelming. Successful businesses often have to stand out, and these can be through brand, innovation, customer experiences, or specialization. Now, I know we may be sounding negative so far on entrepreneurship. However, how can we avoid these pitfalls? So rather than focusing on the negatives, let's look at what successful entrepreneurs do. They do this through several key principles. One, validate the market. Before launching a business, successful founders often test their ideas by talking to potential customers, launching small pilot products, and doing market studies. And that market study will include a demand for that product. The second way is through controlling your costs early. Many successful companies start small and scale gradually. What they do, they keep expenses low and help businesses survive early challenges. In addition to that, what you will find is that a lot of businesses, though they need additional persons to make it grow, they do a lot of the work themselves. Focus on cash flow. Revenue is important, but cash flow keeps businesses alive. Entrepreneurs must carefully track how their money moves in and out of the business. Businesses don't need profit, they need cash flow. If you have positive cash flow month after month, chances are you will do well, and even if your profit is small. Now, there are some alternative paths to business ownership. Starting a business from scratch is not the only way to become an entrepreneur. As a matter of fact, there are several approaches that provide several risk levels that gives you the reward that you are looking for being your own boss. One of the main ways that we can look at is through franchising. A franchise allows someone to operate a business using an established brand and a system. Many examples exist. These include restaurants, retail stores, and service businesses. Some of those advantages include established brand recognition, proven business models, and operational support. However, franchises often require larger upfront franchise fees, ongoing royalties, and adherence to strict operational standards. It can reduce many startup risks, but it still requires careful management. Another way is through online businesses. The internet has created entirely new opportunities for entrepreneurs. Some of these examples include e-commerce stores, digital services, online educational platforms, and content creation businesses. Online businesses often require less capital to start, but they rely heavily on marketing and technology. The real advantage, however, is scalability. A successful online product can reach customers worldwide. Think Amazon. Now, how do entrepreneurs make money from a business? Many people assume entrepreneurs only make money through the profits of the business. And the truth is, that is the main way that entrepreneurs make money, because they are trying to replace their job. But there are several additional ways that wealth is created. Let us look at some of the exit strategies behind businesses, because one of the most powerful wealth building strategies is not in running the business, but in how they exit that business. So you're building the business with the intention of selling it later. The first way is selling it to a larger company. Many small businesses are acquired by larger companies seeking expansion. We have seen several of that. We can look at Meta as one primary example. So a successful local company might be purchased by a national brand, as I just explained. Another way is selling to a private equity or an investment fund. Private investment funds often acquire profitable businesses to grow them further. So entrepreneurs can sell a portion of or all of their business to these investors. The third way is through a private sale. An entrepreneur may sell the business to another individual entrepreneur and investor. What we are finding these days, with the baby boomers reaching retirement, and some of them even past retirement stages, they do not have anyone to take over their business, and therefore they are willing to sell that business so that they can exit and live on the monies or the proceeds as their pension. This is a common exit strategy for small and medium-sized businesses. And the one that we all know is an initial public offering. An IPO occurs when a business lists its shares on a stock exchange and becomes publicly traded. This allows founders and early investors to sell their shares to the public. While IPOs are less common, they can create enormous wealth when successful. As a matter of fact, based on what we had said earlier about buying into the stock market, these same companies are the one that you buy in little later on. Now, another strategy entrepreneurs use is what we call cash out refinancing. If a business becomes profitable and valuable, lenders may allow the owner to borrow against the value of that company. This allows the entrepreneur to reinvest in their own company for expansion, start up new ventures or new products, or they can even access that money for personal liquidity. This approach allows owners to access their capital within the business without having to sell that business. Now, why should you become an entrepreneur? The truth is there's unlimited upside. Businesses are not limited to fixed returns. A successful business can multiply its value many times. So instead of talking in terms of percentage gain, 10, 20, or 30, we can start thinking of business multiples, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Entrepreneurs often control decisions about strategy, growth, and operations. And that ultimate control allows the business to grow in a particular path. And of course, the third way is through wealth creation potential. The more successful companies can generate significant income and eventually a sale. And that sale value, as we explained, can be very significant. The cons of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship carries one of the highest risks in all our investment tools that we have looked at so far. However, we must recognize that many businesses fail due to poor planning, competition, or market changes. Entrepreneurship also requires the highest level of time commitment. Unlike passive investments, business requires significant effort and attention. And finally, financial uncertainty. Business income can fluctuate significantly, especially in the early stages. And like many other of the investments that we looked at, changes in the economy can also cause the business income to fluctuate. Now, some entrepreneurs will actually work and have a job to provide themselves with income during the startup phase of their business. But who is entrepreneurship ideal for? Entrepreneurs tend to work best for individuals who are comfortable with risk. They have strong problem-solving skills. They are willing to commit significant time and effort. They have identified a real market opportunity. Don't get me wrong, it also helps if you have your financial reserves in place. And this, sometimes I can tell you, is not 6 months. We're looking maybe at 3 years worth of reserves. Strong professional networks. So persons who are involved in many of the service clubs, or they were probably salesmen from a different era, are always do better than others. And of course, access to mentorship. That has been one of the greatest ways that entrepreneurs have scaled their business over time. Now let's look at business ownership from this point of view. Imagine planting a tree. In the early years, the tree needs care, patience, and consistent effort. At first, as a matter of fact, maybe in the first few years, it doesn't produce any fruit. Then it starts producing some fruit, very little at first. But as time progresses, just like the tree that matures, your company produces. And that tree producing fruit, your company produces excess cash flow and profit. Successful businesses work much the same way as that tree. Early effort and investing eventually create long-term productivity. Now, as we have said, entrepreneurship is one of the most powerful ways and the path to wealth. It is also one of the most risky ways. By doing and becoming an entrepreneur, you have to commit your whole life, probably, not just in terms of time, energy, effort, but means to making sure that it works. But look at the upside. You have multiple ways of bringing in income, and you can sell that business or profit from that business and scale that business to multiple times the amount of money and time that you have invested. In our final episode, we will look at a balanced investment approach, which will include all the previous ways we have looked at over the last 5 episodes. So I look forward to speaking with you in our final episode on a balanced investment strategy. Thank you.
All right. A balanced investment strategy.
What do you think about this entrepreneurship, though, Mikey D? Because our financial advisor shared with us that it can be very risky, very time consuming, and requires your full attention.
You don't want
And
to.
it must solve a problem. You can't be like, I like to do this,
I've
and
always,
it's
I thought,
something.
I woke up this morning with it. This is
Yes,
my thought in my head. I am broke, I have no money, and so here we are, have no business, no way of making money, have no food, nothing.
yes,
All right. So you decide your mind after being broke, have no money, have nothing in your closet, in your
yes,
cupboards. You decide to become an entrepreneur.
yes,
And so you decide, no, I'm going to be going out and I'm going to try this new idea that I am coming up with.
right,
Now I start to make money. But the
yes,
first person I have to pay is somebody else. From the
yes,
money that I make, I have to pay taxes. And when I
yes,
was hungry, nobody gave me anything.
yes.
Bothers me a lot sometimes when I think about it like that. That is like, I feel it's an extortion kind of thing, right? That while I am broke and have no money at all, I need somebody to give me something. Nobody give me anything. There's no system that says I can come and get money from you just in case I am starving to death. But then as soon as I make money, here comes somebody with their big hand reaching in the top section of the profit, not profit
To
enough,
get it,
to
to
grab
get,
the
yes,
money and take it
yes,
out and say, go work again and bring more come. Because now that you have a machine running, you must make sure that we eat too. You know,
well,
it troubles me. So I believe that, sometimes it's a little discouraging.
it
However,
can be, and it depends, as you mentioned.
Let me just say
Because
this. Let me say
i-
this. However,
yes,
however, I don't want to discourage you from owning your business because these taxes are supposed to be the ones that causes you to get health care and security of your country and all the rest of the things. Housing, of course, while housing is probably getting away from people. If you can't give somebody what $2 million to buy a $20 million house. It's impossible. But anyways, this is where it is. But I would not discourage you from starting somewhere. Ladies.
yeah, and as I, what was I saying? It's gone. It's gone.
I'm sorry about
It
that.
will,
I'm sorry.
it will come back.
I'm sorry about taking away the thought from your head. But when I say things, I want to just say, don't make Michael G just become so dogmatic about these things. But entrepreneurship is the key factor. I said earlier, and the statement I used before was,
But as you mentioned, I meant the government policies are also things that you need to know. As a financial advisor mentioned, um, what can make a business succeed or not succeed. We have been following a story in the news. Entrepreneur who invested over $65,000 into e-bikes for a new business.
right,
Now,
government
uh,
policies change.
policies change, and now that 65,000
That business is now
dollars
collapsing.
is a lot to invest. So entrepreneurship, it's risky, but it can be rewarding. I also remember a popular entrepreneur in Jamaica, owner of Island Grill. And I will probably share information with you. Island Grill was not her first business adventure.
No.
She had several business adventures before hitting the jackpot or before making this success. And now she has followed one of the principles that we heard mentioned here in the presentation, that of franchising. So there are several franchises of her business that now exists, and what a staple it has become, what a name it has become. So entrepreneurs have this very quality, Mikey G, and that is tenacity, sticking to it, and and of course, not without the knowledge. Of course, get the knowledge if you need the knowledge, and certainly, it requires your attention, and you must be fulfilling a need that exists. So
Somebody hear me
let's see.
speak and say, boy, Mike G negative, man. Because the first thing you can think about is this, that you would go out and create a business and government
Yes,
send you to prison because you met the business. That kind of thing, because they find something wrong somewhere and they lock you up because of something that they say that is against some
so
violation.
you must know these things when you're going
So
in
you can
business.
you are somebody who, and so they say, Mikey, you're so negative. You don't want people to create business. No, I want you to do it. But first find out all the things that can go wrong
You need, yes,
and all the people
yes,
who want to
yes,
put you in jail because you make a good idea. And all those
yes.
who want to not see you succeed, even though they're smiling with you. So,
Smile up yourself.
smile up yourself. You look up people who don't want to see you succeed. All right, saying that, literally, that, encouraging. But I would always tell you that I believe that the education system is a farce and has not provided the proper educational tools for young people or persons, even of our peers before us. Look at what not
Yes,
been teaching investments. You don't teach investments in school. You don't. In fact, they told me when I was growing up that I must put my money in the bank and I would get compound interest. What a lie. Because what happened to me was now is that they have put me in the mind of saying I must put my money in the bank. Now that I'm putting my money in the bank is taking money from me. So
things have
they
changed,
have
Mikey
placed me
G.
in a very grave position. Once I could, people used to hide them, put their money under the mattress, and it was safe, and everybody had a good. They nut it away and put it in them brassiere, and it was fine. You said put it in the bank because it's safe in the bank. Yet still, I would put my money in the bank, and when I go back, my money in the bank that was there depleted and the bank account closed. Somebody took it and say it was for the expenses of keeping the bank account for you over a period of time, that it was not being serviced, and so we take the money. I thought when I go back I would get interest on the money, and the money would have grown like a big tree. Now I'm picking money off it like apples off trees. Instead, the tree dry up, and I can't even find the spot that it died at. So
Well,
not even manure,
listen.
not at the spot. Not even so much manure that I could hear is at the spot. Right?
Well, we certainly thank our financial advisor for walking with us slowly through this investment series. We have one more presentation to go, but I've learned so much so far. And as you mentioned there, about what to do with your money, you have to also know, and you have to direct the path of, you know, how you're going to invest and how you're going to plant that seed and watch it grow, and then reap the benefits. So just shout out to all the investors out
Yes.
there, and to our financial advisor. Just want to encourage those who are listening, tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and share them in the chat so that they can be addressed. It is breakfast hour time, and we have so much to share with you this morning. Stick and stay with us. We'll be back after this break.
All right, let's go for a break, and when we come back.
are the latest news updates. Families across the Cayman Islands turned out in full force this Easter weekend, keeping the beloved beach camping tradition alive. From Smith Bacardi in Georgetown to Barker's in West Bay and across to Rum Point and East End, beaches were filled with tents, food, games, and family gatherings. One of the largest groups, the Ramon family, brought together nearly 40 relatives spanning 4 generations at South Sound Dock. The tradition, which has lasted for more than 4 decades, continues to create lasting memories while encouraging younger generations to connect with nature and family. In other news, a dive boat capsized in the North Sound on Easter Sunday while 6 divers were underwater. Thankfully, all divers surfaced safely and were rescued without injury. Quick response from Captain Marvin's water sports crew, along with the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, ensured everyone was brought back to shore safely. Investigations are now underway to determine what caused the incident. International law firm Walkers has announced a leadership change. Matthew Cork will take over as managing director on July 1st, replacing Rob Jackson, who will remain with the firm as a finance partner after 3 years in the role. Police have charged a 25-year-old man from Bodden Town in connection with a robbery at Harbour Walk on March 27th. The victim was reportedly assaulted after being lured to a secluded area and had a gold chain stolen. The accused has appeared in court and was granted bail pending further proceedings. And now to sports. 5 Caymanian artistic swimmers are preparing to represent the islands at the 2026 Pan Am Aquatics Artistic Swimming Championships in Santiago, Chile. The team includes athletes across multiple age groups with high hopes for strong performances on the regional stage. Across the Caribbean, business leaders are encouraging employers to invest in workforce development through online education. Flexible learning options are being promoted as a practical way for workers to gain qualifications while balancing job and family responsibilities. And finally, in international news, Donald Trump has issued renewed warnings toward Iran as tensions continue in the Middle East. Efforts toward a ceasefire are ongoing, but no agreement has yet been reached, raising concerns about wider global impact. And those were your news for this morning. I'm Corley Karen. Thank you for listening, for sharing, and have a safe and blessed day.
Welcome back. A mouthful there happening in the news, and we were able to see all the activities happening on the weekend. The beaches were filled with tents. I can't say a lot of the persons were in the water at the time that I passed through, but certainly I could see families together there. It's certainly a time to bond. And this morning it's like night and day. So today the beach is all clear, at least Governor's Beach. Not a single tent. But yesterday you could hardly make your way on the shores right there because the place was packed. There were so many persons camping out at the beach, and it was a good weekend. They had good weather, and certainly I'm sure that they did enjoy being so close to nature.
Wow. I was listening to the news, and it says one family came out, 40 members of the family.
Wow.
And this was generational,
Yes.
ancestral. It's like, great grands came out and they camped on the beach of in Cayman. And it was a memorable occasion to see all the persons come out for the Easter celebration, and of course that Easter period of camping and exciting wildlife experience. Well, as it goes, urbanization is really a very big thing. You won't have any of those wildlife experiences soon. Beaches are all going to be gone.
For those who had their
tourists with bikinis all over, and guys will be, of course, enjoying the bikinis, and I don't think the wives are going to be enjoying it so much.
Well, Mikey G, there are persons, especially in my district, that I grew up in,
Yes.
that camping was a church experience. We used to have West Canyuca camp, which was in the western part of the island, and at the time we used to camp at the Green Island Secondary School.
Right.
And we would have such a grand time. We would have our banquet, and it was we had our walks. And
That would be organized by the
Seventh-day Adventist Church.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Youth department. And I remember that, like, we had our rooms inspected, our places that, there's a way in which we had to make our bed, fold our sheets, put our shoes. It was like, so I reflect on those moments when we had our camp. That was first, and certainly the Easter weekend was indeed a camping time, just the same for various churches. So shout out to all those persons who went on the camp, and I hope that you certainly enjoyed the time. I know coming up this weekend in Jamaica, it might be carnival time. Well, we'll share more about that as we hear in the news right here in the Grand Cape. But before we get off,
you were saying about the youth department of the church.
Yes.
I want you to speak it back on that. If you have a youth department, then you have. If you have youth, then you have
senior.
Sorry, youth and. If you have a youth department, what other department you have? Yeah. Senior department, or
yes.
That's what you hear. It was youth department and adult department. You didn't hear that, did you?
No.
It was youth department, and then it is adult department.
So when are you not youth?
No. Wait. Now we have young people's department, and then you have
old people. You know what?
The words are important. And you're going to say, the love of Christ constrains us. That was the first one. And then I change it and say, the love of Christ compels us. The words are not the same, and they're certainly not the same in meaning.
The meaning would change.
It changes. So
it changes.
Young people department and adult department. It would be adult department first, and the young people's department, and it would be adult department and youths, adults and youths, or youths and adults. Now you have young people department and the
old people. Well, before we get on, we need to share these two videos that are making the round on social media.
All right, let's have the first one about the Easter. Let's go with the first one. Yes.
Of course we do. We're never going to forget what you did. There is still hope. What do you guys call it? It's not that big of a deal, but Easter. And what does Easter mean again? The word Easter originated from the goddess of fertility, and we celebrate it with bunnies and eggs. You celebrate my resurrection by naming it a false pagan god, and then you said bunnies and eggs. Bunnies don't even lay eggs. I don't know why we do this. We don't make good decisions. Yeah, clearly. And you know what? I'm going to start a new holiday, and it's going to happen really soon. I'm going to call it Judgment Day.
Where did you find that one?
I'm going to start a new holiday. I'm going to call it Judgment Day. You know, we talk about Easter, and, you know, the origin of it and how Christianity got so popular in Easter celebration. It has no link to Christianity at all. And just the name of it alone is supposed to be a deterrent from Christians who are involved in the whole Easter. You shouldn't even name a service an Easter service. You shouldn't even have it. The name itself should not even be said. You should leave the pagans with that. And Christians keep away from that thing because it has nothing to do with Christ's death and resurrection. Well, it's a good time when people come to listen to about the Christ story because they mix it. But you know what's surprisingly funny though, Lady Elise, and I found this out about yesterday because I asked a question. I realized that people in the United States and other parts of the world don't celebrate like certain parts like Easter, like Good Friday, not celebrated in some countries. It don't even exist. The old Easter Monday and Sunday stuff. Some people don't even know that it exists. It don't exist. Where it do exist though is in mostly in Europe. I think some places.
And the British colonies.
In the British colonies.
Maybe Spanish. Maybe Spanish.
And Spanish.
Where
Britain and Spain.
Yes.
Where Britain and Spain colonized those lands, those colonized minds still celebrate the pagan holiday of Easter and stuff like that. You have to understand we have been marked for death by these people.
I'm gonna search, Mikey G, because I remember being in Panama during the Easter, and there's a huge, let me tell you, a huge march, and I had to capture a lot of videos and pictures a few years back. I'm going to really go in my archive and find that and share it with you. Please, I must share that. It is a huge, let me tell you, a huge celebration in the Good Friday march. You know, the streets are blocked. There are people.
Yes.
You know,
it's
something to see.
Yes, it is something to see. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Can you imagine marching for the devil under Jesus' banner? Can you imagine? How much more praise I could get if I get you to let you march for me, who is totally against what you're doing. But you're doing it for me and you don't even know. Wow, what a thing.
Well, what we do know is how important knowledge is, and when we get this knowledge, that we also share. So I'm hoping that our listeners and viewers, if you're passing by here, if you just listen to the conversation, you can research it, you can check it out. What does the name Easter mean? And where is the origin?
Where does it come from?
Today it has been a wonderful day. We spoke about financial matters, and we have been talking about investment, and we need to know the know-how, whether it's the stocks, bonds, real estate, and today we mentioned entrepreneurship. Is that the right one for you? Our financial advisor reminded us that this is not necessarily for everyone. There are a few things you need to know, and I hope that you are in a place that you would have been able to now make an informed decision. And of course, the series continue next week, and there will be a summary of all the tools, investment tools. You cannot afford to miss that one. Tomorrow, though, is Wellness Wednesday.
Here's a statement for you, Lady Elise. It says that if you put bananas and money, or in this sense, entrepreneurship, work and business.
Yes.
Let me go again. I just want to hear it first that I said that. If you put money and bananas in front of a monkey, he will always choose bananas. because
Yes.
he don't know that money can buy a whole lot more bananas.
Ah, okay.
So entrepreneurship is not something that people are running for. Most persons are running for jobs. They don't know that entrepreneurship and having your own business can create lifelong wealth at a job.
Yes. You did
Keeping
mention
your
it can be one of the quickest ways.
paycheck to
One
paycheck
of the,
and you'll never
yeah.
get off that treadmill. Have you ever,
Yes.
you have been on a treadmill before, running
Yes.
90 miles an
Yes.
hour, going nowhere, you know, that kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes. Yeah, the
Constantly
same
running,
thing.
constantly running, but going
Not moving.
absolutely nowhere. So, can you
Yes.
imagine? That's what work does for a lot of persons, keeping you on the treadmill of running without. And when you're finished, they told you to work for 65 years of your life, then retire and go vacationing. When your legs are not working anymore, you have diabetes, arthritis, and probably lost a limb. Walking on crutches or a walker with an oxygen tank.
All right. A word to the wise is sufficient.
Guys,
I
something is
will.
wrong with something. So let's look at it. Entrepreneurship, for the younger ones that come behind, please guys, if you catch this information early, use it wisely. Don't let the system drag you in and create a narrative that you will never survive it at all. Last word, Lady Elise, let's get out of here.
Today, I want to just wish you a wonderful day. I'll ask you to just look at the sunny side of town. Of course, our Temperance Tuesday, where we pause at midday, is going to be happening on Zoom. Please join us if you're able. Just wish you a wonderful, blessed day. See you
Well,
tomorrow.
happy birthday, yeah, my friend. I want to say happy birthday to my, grand who celebrated her birthday on the weekend. Yes, my granddaughter who celebrated her birthday on the weekend. Yeah, it's a pretty Esther. Esther the Queen. Yeah, had a big birthday
Happy
splash.
birthday, Esther.
Guys, have a wonderful rest of the day. Of course, continue to enjoy Flashpoint Radio FM, www.flashpointmedia.ky, all across the globe. You can find Flashpoint. In fact, as the Minister Claude Edwards would say, take Flashpoint with you anywhere
Everywhere you go.
you go. Have a good one, guys. Wellness Wednesday tomorrow. Dr. K live right here on Flashpoint Media.